Stop fighting with website builders. You should be able to create the website that you want or app that you want on your own terms and own your own code. I'm Commander Lamboy, digital architect for Texas AI Consulting. I help businesses build their digital architecture so that they can start at warp speed. And today we're going to be building your warp drive. At the core of it, we're going to use Google's anti-gravity to build us a Next.js front end with an n8n backend and deployment through railway.com. It is by far the best system that I've used to sell $1,000 websites. Let's take a look at the demonstration. So here I have a template that I built using the same system. So right now it's running locally, and you could see that it's a professional grade website. And for example, if I fill out the form, this is going to be great. I'm going to click send a message. Good. Message received. Hey, this is Elliot. We'll get back to you soon. So now we're going to change the theme to, instead of using blue, to use green. Of using blue, let's use green for the theme. We're going to let anti-gravity do its thing. That's going to take it a bit. And sometimes it does this. It runs into issues, but I found that out of all the IDEs that have implemented AI, Google just knocked it out of the park. Since I started using anti-gravity, I stopped using RuCode, Cursor, and all the other ones. And so we're going to accept those changes. And now you can see that the website has turned green. And you can do that for images or whatnot. And so let's get started. Let's build from scratch. We're going to start by creating a new folder. So where you want to start is somewhere in your computer. You're going to create a new folder. You can call this whatever you want: projects, development. And there you can put your apps. And how you organize your folders, it's up to you. And usually I like to keep my Window Explorer open, because when I'm working with IDEs, it's just sometimes easier to copy files from other places. And I'm not a developer. I did learn Python, but I can't say that I went to school for computer engineering. But so if you're a developer out there, and I'm sure you're using the command line to do things differently, but hey. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say open folder, and then I'm going to go there, and we're going to select folder. Click on trust. I'm not going to go through downloading anti-gravity and connecting it to a console cloud project. That's a video for another time. I'm going to try and make this as focus on what the purpose is, which is that deployment on Railway. Once you have the IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Like I said, we're using anti-gravity, and you're going to create basically a product requirement document. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini. I use Gemini a lot. In this case, we're going to go with ChatGPT. I haven't been here in a bit. But we're going to tell it what we're building, what our purpose is, and let's see what it comes up with. Product requirement document. And you want to do your research before you start this, because you want to also understand your target audience and your ideal client. But of course, AI can help you do all that. We're gonna keep it simple there. We're gonna hit enter. Okay, so once we have the product requirements document, we're gonna copy this. And there are plenty of ways to do this. And we're going to create a new document, new file, .md. The files for the documents, you want to create them in Markdown format. So once you create your Markdown document and you've either exported it, if it's not properly formatted, you can start by actually telling anti-gravity to format it better. So let's start there. I do this a lot. Sometimes I forget to save. I'm going to stop it here for a second. So let me see if I try to close it. Yep, I forgot to save it. So just Control S for save. And now I'm going to ask it to read it again. Please read it. It says that he was still struggling to find the PRD. What's DRG? I needed coffee. Okay, now from the PRD, we're going to ask the AI to make a technical requirements document. In the meantime, let's go back to ChatGPT. Find our kitchen remodel. And let's tell ChatGPT to make some images for us. You can use your AI image generator of choice for this. We're trying to make things quick, so we're going to stick here right on ChatGPT. This is the best prompt engineering here. I think we're going to make let's make about 6 different images. Wow, that's pretty nice. So let's save that. And we're going to start putting those. We're going to start putting those on this folder. So this is what I was talking about, that I always have to go back. But we're going to make a new folder named images. Right click, copy path, paste path, and then save that as kitchen 1. So we have our TRD document. Let's accept that. On the IDEs, whether you're using VS Code, usually I use VS Code before I started using anti-gravity. I know you can use, there's PyCharms and other ones. Like I said, I'm not a developer, so, but most of them you can right click and preview your document. If not, you can find an extension that will let you do that. Again, right click, preview, it opens up a preview and says system architecture, the obvious built, server-side rendered. I don't think you really need to know everything about all this stuff. So there are little nuances to technical architecture that if you're not a developer, you will want to keep in mind. And one of those things is, since you own the code, you do want to keep it secure. And there's some practices for that. Of course, you can always ask the AI here to help you maintain a proper .env environment, but I'm going to show you how to do that as well, and especially when deploying to railway.com. So look, this looks like the architecture for it. We're going to use CI/CD. That stands for continuous integration, continuous deployment. And this is the best part about that, is that we can basically make changes here and they'll automatically deploy to the website without you doing much. So once your website is built, it's super awesome to maintain. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to keep creating a couple more images. In the interest of saving time, I'm not going to create a logo and I'm not going to get so much into the design part. But of course, there is a lot of research that goes behind what you want to design. And of course, you want to also research your ideal client and what it is they're attracted to. And there's a whole science behind that, creating a proper UX, UI, user experience, user interface that your clients are going to love, and it's going to keep the churn low and keep your clients coming back. But the whole purpose of this is that we understand that, hey, you don't need to be frustrated with a builder. And by builder, I mean not a person, but if you're building on your own, like using a WordPress builder or paying, I think I remember at one point I was paying like $200, $300 a license for some of the WordPress builders, or having to rely on whatever the client was giving me as far as their platform, whether it's building on Wix or whatnot. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and tell our IDE to start implementing here. Please start implementing. Use images from @images folder, and that will be just have a home icon. For logo and for favicon. It looks like the same kitchen as before. Huh. Let's see how creative we can make it with the kitchen. Example, but be way more creative. All right, so it's initializing npx. And right now it's running through the terminal here. I don't know about that one, but let's download it. Kitchen 5. We're going to click accept. Kitchen in a spaceship. Enterprise style. Think this guy's still cooking. Okay, so let's see, these are all the files. Interesting. You can save this image, and this is our 6th kitchen. Okay, so while this is still working, and I think we have enough images that we're now going to go to start our deployment ready. You're going to need a GitHub account, and I already have one. I'm not going to go through how to create one. Feel free to comment below if you need help creating a GitHub account. And so GitHub is basically where it's kind of like the library where the code is going to live. It's not going to function from there, but it is what Railway is going to use to gather the information and deploy the website. And the first time, I'm already connected to GitHub, but what you'll have to do is, if you've never done it like this, is you're going to have to create a GitHub account. and then connect it to your IDE, which in this case is anti-gravity. And you kind of click on this little antenna there, and initially you'll have to connect to a GitHub account. While that's working, let's make some more kitchens. Okay, so it looks like it created the walkthrough, and with anti-gravity, by the time it's creating a walkthrough means that the project is finished. So it looks like we have the public files with the images that are copied into it. So let's take a look. And so in order to run it, we're going to run a new terminal. We're going to say npm run dev. Oh, okay. So apparently I'm in the wrong folder structure. So it created all the files inside the kitchen remodel. So we have to navigate there. So cd, and it tells us right here, it says navigate to this. And then npm run dev. So now if we look at localhost 3000, this is what our website looks like. It looks like an error. So let's let it know what's happening. And I use snipping tool a lot. So you can open up the snipping tool or just copy these, but snipping tool works fine. And then copy and paste the image. Let's let it figure it out. Nice kitchen. It's going through a lot of code changes right now. It didn't work from the first pass of running the development environment. So let's take a look again. If we go back to local 3000, oh, there it is. And there's our professional website in all its glory. So let's click through the gallery, the process, the about, team members. So there's our website, looking pretty spiffy. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare the server. So I already have a railway.com account, of course. I have a whole bunch of projects. I have the pro account, which is decent for, what I use. I actually focus mostly on GoHighLevel. I love GoHighLevel. I can talk more about it if you guys like. I've developed custom CSS for websites, and I can create development environments for CSS very quickly. So, but in this case, we're going to use railway.com. I'm going to deploy a new project for this. And we're going to use a template. And here we're going to look for n8n with workers by Jack. Let's deploy it. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to initialize the repository. So if you click on this, and of course you can use GitHub commands and CLI commands for this command line interface commands. But I just like using the IDE's UI, user interface. And this is the first time we're going to commit. So we're going to say kitchen remodel example. And I've skipped the step of connecting the GitHub. I'm assuming that you already have a GitHub account. And even if you haven't connected it to your IDE, the first time you do this, it'll help you through it. So it's not super complicated. We're going to skip that step, assuming you're already connected to it, or you can connect at this point. So again, click on the double antennas. You have to write a comment first. Don't commit without a comment. So now it's asking me to publish the branch. Kitchen remodel, we're going to make that a public repository. And now we're going to open it on GitHub. So there it is. So now let's get back to Railway is online. So you should have this n8n production app. Okay, and the first time you click on that link, it's going to ask you to set up an account. So we're going to say, I'll get Eliud Lamboy, and let's pick somewhat. Yep, you strong. Click that, and even if you try to use this service, by the time I've edited this video, this won't be available. But I can certainly help you out and set it up. Let's set it up for education, business owner, myself. How big is it? Less than 20 people. Google. Let's get started. Now we're going to skip that. And we're going to start from scratch. We are going to, our first workflow is going to be basically the webhook that talks to this application. So we're going to start there. And we're going to make it respond. Use the respond to webhook. Okay. And then here we're going to create a .env variable. This is what I was talking about before, about making sure that you have a, at least think about security, even from the get-go. So you can create a .env, and from here, we're going to say next public webhook. And I don't remember why it is, but with Next.js, if they're going to be public, meaning that they're going to be sending information through the browser, you have to precede the environment variables with next public. So for webhooks, you need to write first next public webhook. So we're going to copy that. That's our test URL. And then we're going to add a respond to webhook. Webhook, respond to webhook. And we're going to respond with JSON. We're going to say message. On railway.com. Okay, so we're going to tell the AI now. All right, so here we are an hour later, and for whatever reason, I had set the webhook to post, but it was reading it as get. So there was a discrepancy there with how the AI had coded the route. And so, I don't know, eventually it ran its own task and it figured that even though I had set it to post here, it was getting a get. It told me I didn't need to do anything. It just worked around, and now the form is working. So now if I send engage, now it looks like it's working, and it's actually doing it using a get request, which I didn't even think it was possible, but it worked around it. So if I look at the n8n, this is a published workflow, so we're gonna go back. We're going to save. We're going to look at the executions. Here's the execution for that. And here's the response to webhook. Hey, this is Elliot, and we were deploying on railway.com, and it was able to send that and read that off. Okay, so the next thing is load the project to GitHub. So we made some changes. Update webhook. We're going to sync those changes. And now on Railway, we're going to create a new deployment. You're going to right click, add repo. And I think our repo name was, what was our repo name? Kitchen remodel. Oh, there it is. And we're going to try and deploy it. It says it's got 2 settings. And here's where you would put in the variable. So let's go back to the project. Later on, you would change that webhook, because the .env don't usually get uploaded for that. So we're going to add that. It's got 4 changes. Let's deploy it. We're going to let it build this thing. Hopefully it builds one shot. Damn it, Jim. I'm giving it all she's got. All right. Look at that. It's online in our first shot. That's pretty impressive. So we're going to look at the settings here. Everything looks good. We're going to generate a domain for the service. You can just type in 8080 right there. Generate domain. And so now the service, yep, there it is. Let's check that execution for the n8n again. Test at gmail.com. 222. Engage railway app. So that was pretty easy. Oh, hey, this is Elliot, and we're deployed on railway.com. Good, so we got that working. So now, if we wanted to change, let's start a new conversation with this AI. And let's say, can you improve this application's styling a bit more? We're gonna let it make its changes. But what we're gonna do here is actually add let's add a CRM. So you can see how that works. So the cool thing about n8n is that you can add all kinds of things in between here, right? You can add a whole AI workflow. There's plenty of examples out there. I'm just going to keep it really simple right now and just add a Google Sheet. And what we're going to do is we're going to append a row in Sheet. You're going to select credentials. If you don't have credentials, you're going to have to create a new credential. In order to do that, you're going to have to go into your console. Go to console.googlecloud. And you're going to have to create a project. There's other videos out there that show you how to do this. I can create one too if you guys want. But I'm not going to get into the whole thing here. But you're going to click APIs and services. Once you have and then you're going to click credentials. You're going to copy your client ID. So you're going to go to the console, the Google Cloud console, and you're going to select your client secret. I'll refer to a video on that because we're not going to go through all of that. And then you're going to paste the secret on there. Click save. And then you're going to click sign in with Google. Select continue. Connection successful. We say the new leads template. Sheet 1. Great. All right. So even though the application is live on Railway, we're gonna, because we're working with and use the test API so that we can send some data. Webhook test, so that we can send some data to n8n. So back in workflows. Oh, here. We're going to listen for a test event. And are we still? Yeah. We're still running the application locally. So we're going to say local 3000. Get a quote, make sure I save that. Engage. So it looks like this test worked. Here, we're gonna pin this. And now what we're gonna do is, you got name, email, you can put the phone, last message. So you can say here that service. Let's open up the expression on there. Okay, so there's other stuff that we can put on there. And then we just close this out for now. And then respond to webhook. You can say webhook, hey. Let's open this up. Working on your service. All right. So we're going to save that. That should be saved. One last thing to do, and so we have the workflow going. Let's update the repository. Update layout, because we made some layout changes here. So we're going to push that to GitHub. And when we go back to railway.com, which is here somewhere. So now it's building again. All right, so made some changes, it looks like, and we know that the form works. Okay, so we've deployed to Railway. We have our n8n instance and webhook working finally, and we know that the Google Sheets simple CRM is going to work for us. So that said, the next thing that we're going to do is connect to Cloudflare to use our custom domain. So we're going to go to cloudflare.com. There is a startup free. So these are very low cost assets. We're going to verify that we're human. I'm going to connect with the GitHub account. You're going to skip this. And here in domains, let's go ahead and you can either onboard a domain or buy a domain. If you're onboarding a domain, most likely you'll be changing the host domain server, and that's not super complicated to do either. But we're gonna start with a new domain, Texas Consulting Templates.com. Let's go ahead and pick that one up. And now that you've either purchased the domain or imported it to Cloudflare, what we're going to do is import a custom domain in the railway.com portion. So first, we're going to go to railway.com again. You're going to find your project. And we have kitchen remodels. You can go to settings, and we're gonna add a custom domain. Select the port, 8080, and the custom domain that we have is texasaitemplates.com. Add domain. So it's going to ask you to create the CNAME. Back in Cloudflare, you click domains, find your domain. Go to the DNS records. You're going to add a record. The record type is CNAME. You can use the @root and paste. Whoop, that's the wrong paste. Paste the value that Railway is giving you. Click save. So once you've done that, now you can go to railway.com. And it should automatically detect the Cloudflare instance. So we can just check it out, click on, yep, and there it is. So now we test out the workflow. This is John Doe 2, John at Texas AI Consulting.com 210 222 2222. This is a test. We're going to request a consultation. Hey, this is Elliot. John Doe 2, this is Elliot, and we're working on your full remodel. Okay, so now let's check the n8n instance and see what happened there. So overview. We're going to go to workflow, executions, and there it is. It was appended to the sheet. Service full remodel message, this is a test. So now if we look at the sheets, so there it is, John Doe 2, and all the variables were filled out. So excellent job.